did this ourselves.
They're coming. It can't be.
Where is everyone?
Hey, survivors. Makeshift here, and you're listening to another episode of the Apocalypse Postcast, a podcast. My guest today has been called the Godfather of the Southeastern Wasteland Scene, running events like Nukelanta and the Junkyard Festival. And here to talk all about it is Steve C. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hey, Mike, or should I say Makeshift. Thank you for having me today, and I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it's been a great apocalypse on my end.
Very good.
So tell me, do you have a wasteland name?
Yes, my wasteland name is Bobby Doug.
Awesome. And where does that come from? What's the meaning behind Bobby Doug?
So one of my events I host is a Fallout LARP. And in the LARP, when you die, you have to do like a raider persona. And here in the South, everybody that was playing kept making these white trash hillbilly raider personas when they would die.
Oh, nice.
and change clothes. So there was Cletus and Jim Doug and all those. So I was just ended up being with Bobby Doug, and that stuck. Here 6 years later, that's the only character I have. So
that's hilarious. Now, does that come with like a typical redneck Southern accent with that?
Yes, I used to be big into role playing, and I would definitely like ham it up big time and communicate at the event like that. And that's not my jam right now, but I definitely would definitely do the full on Southern. Cousin fucking situation going on there. People like that a lot.
I love it. I think that's one of the really cool things about all these different events popping up throughout the United States and throughout the world is we're starting to see all sorts of different versions of the apocalypse, which is pretty wild. But you've been doing this for quite a while. How long have you been producing these festivals?
The festivals, I'm on my fourth year. And it's just an annual one right now, but that's like the big event I look forward to every year. So
awesome. And
yeah, I'm sorry. So I've hosted 4 total, and this is going to be the 5th one. But we had like a weird year with Corona, so
right. Yeah, it's been a very strange year. I know that actually just today, I'm not sure when this episode is going to go out exactly, but just today, I know that Detonation put up their we're going to postpone for another event notice, yeah. which is always upsetting, but I'm glad to see that larger events like that are taking safety into
absolutely
accord. So tell me a little bit about what you do in the real world.
I am a firefighter over close to the main Atlanta airport, by the interstate and everything. I work at one of the most densely populated cities in Georgia. I'm a fire lieutenant. I have been doing it for about 13 years, and I'm in charge of about 11 firefighters, and I basically just ride the fire truck. I call the shots on the calls and, go in and put fires out, and then we run the EMS calls, and I am a hazmat specialist, thanks to my love of the apocalypse. They call me the hazmat guru there. So I do really well on those calls, and I usually end up taking the lead on all of them and getting the game plan together. And then also, because I'm a huge nerd, I love forcible entry. So on my own studies, I became a forcible entry expert too. So I have like a whole bag of tricks to get into grandma's house when she's locked out without doing damage. Or if we have like these heavily reinforced doors, I know how to pop all the bolts out. I know how to get in there and bypass all the locks and chop it up, pull the handles off, cut through the bars, whatever we need to do to get people out or to get in. So that's kind of what I do.
It sounds like you're a great person to have as a friend and probably a bad person to have as an enemy.
You goddamn right.
It sounds like there's almost no structure that could keep you out.
That's right. I'm unstoppable. They call me the Juggernaut, bitch.
Awesome. Well, that's great. And speaking of putting out fires, tell me about like running these festivals, because you're kind of a one-man operation. I know you've got a lot of people that are in the organization, but you're the top guy. So that's kind of your full-time job, is just putting out fires.
Yeah, that's right. I always feel bad if like in our crew, everybody buys a ticket, even if they volunteer to help support the event. So when people are spending $60 to come hang out with me, I don't want to use them for volunteer work. I want them to be able to enjoy the event as much as possible. So if they're a paid person, I try to not utilize them unless I have to, other than looking out for safety for women and creepy people like that. So,
Uh-huh.
so anyway, I like to host a ton of content myself. And I've got like this, big personality, and I'm a giant, I'm a 6'7" dude. And, I've always loved to entertain and sing and dance and stuff. So, and so what I like to do is host all the content. And
Uh-huh.
so like we'll get a dance party going. Our big thing here, we don't do industrial music. We do like 90s hip hop.
Oh, fun.
And we just do that usually all weekend. And so I host these dance parties, and like I'm dancing, for 3 and 4 hours doing it. And we're really big on karaoke. I try to get everybody that's going to be at the event all in kind of one area. And so like, it's like it's a smaller event, we have 100 at most. So I try to get everyone being like, all right, now karaoke's happening. Now here's the big thing happening next. So
Mm-hmm.
I host all that and try to make it really fun, a fun atmosphere, so it draws more people. And then I like to do like a panels, just talking about different topics, whether it's Mad Max, what do you guys think about this, or what do you think about the big changes in the costume community? And then I like to host different workshops, like I'm big on refinishing furniture. I just did a Airbnb for my house.
Oh,
So
awesome.
like I did like this like rustic furniture class, how to redo something and make it kind of Mad Maxed out, and for a table. And I did like someone wanted to make a shotgun holster out of the crowd, so I was like, hey, let's get this floor mat, and I like just made it right there for somebody in front of everybody,
Huh.
and everyone watched it. I make all these homemade stamps, and so I'll do like different classes on how to customize your gear and how to distress your gear, how to rust your props. I learned that from Rad Roach Gear. And
Mm-hmm.
so I try to like bring a lot of materials for people to work with, and I'll teach classes all day on how to use them. And we do this thing called the Dogtown Juggers and Gladiators. And so we play it like we're not steel fighters or rattan fighters or anything. We use foam fighting
Okay.
weapons, but we play it like whatever game we play. If we're doing the game the Juggers play, or we're just doing it Gladiators, you
Uh-huh.
fight until you get knocked down. So you can wrestle them, you can punch them in the stomach, you can hit them in the face. It's however you can get them down by striking or throwing them.
Okay.
So I it's we people always end up getting kind of hurt, whether they get a broke wrist or get like a concussion. We wear helmets and we wear like neck protectors and lacrosse gloves, then whatever armor you want to wear. But and we have foam weapons, but getting hit in the head either way is always rough on your body. So like we always have a hard time getting enough people to do a 5-on-5 match.
I'm
So
sure.
it usually ends up being like, all right, firefighter Steve, who's in pretty good shape, is going to fight whoever wants to fight him. And a lot of times it'll be like a exhibition match where I'll fight like two smaller people,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll do like a big free for all and 2-on-2s, and it's just like
Okay.
it's just a lot of fun. So that's another thing I host, and
Okay.
just trying a little content like that. I'm going to try to do a stand up comedy show at this event for the first time.
Man, you're like a one-man show. You get all sorts of stuff going on.
Well, when the people buy a ticket from me, I got to make sure I deliver. So,
That's great. Okay, so now your main event is Nukelanta, which I understand is a LARP, and then under the Nukelanta umbrella, you've got Junkyard Fest. Can you tell us? Can you distinguish the two events, and why would somebody go to one and not the other, or
yeah,
why would you go to one specific? You know what I mean? Tell me
right.
about these festivals.
Yeah, well, so in the post-apocalyptic festival community, LARPing is very taboo. You don't want to be labeled a LARPer. It's not, it's kind of frowned upon. So the two communities are very similar, but they typically don't intermingle. So like everyone that goes to my Fallout LARP that's been going to it for like 6-7 years will
Uh
not go to the festival because they're like, there's not a game to play. Like there's no like, and I'm like, no, it's very similar, but you're just not. It's just different. So they don't go, and it's like at my Fallout LARP, I have like 150 people in the heyday that would go consistently,
huh. Uh
and
huh.
then at the Junkyard Festival, I have like 100, but like it was all different people. and
Yeah.
none of them none of them crossed over. And when my Rush Rider crew would go to my Fallout LARP, because I'll host like 4 or 6 of them a year,
Hmm.
and so sometimes that's just like, all right, well, we can get dressed up and get drunk and party. We don't really care what kind of event it is. It's post-apocalyptic. So they would come to the event and make their own camp and basically just hang out there all weekend, like 10 of them. And
Uh-huh.
then kids would come and they would like interact, and like they would like barter their items that they crafted, and they would like have the best costuming, and they would get drunk and party all weekend. And sometimes they would like do a shift and be raiders and like run around with Nerf blasters and shoot everybody. And
Hmm.
that was very different for them to shoot people and play the game, but they would do it and they'd have fun. So it's like they didn't know anything about the rules or what was going on, but they were just there to raise hell and have fun, which was cool. They tried it out and they did that several times. But so the LARP is basically like you like would make a Fallout character, like you just came into a post-apocalyptic town. You get your caps to start with. You get to make your character. It's really simple rules and LARP
Hmm.
standards, because I don't like a
Hmm.
lot of rules. I like to be easy. And you can go buy stim packs, you can loot, you fight raiders, you can make allies and collect bounties and do missions, and go to like secret vaults and just different little things we have. And then we always have like a big battle at the end of the weekend. And
Uh-huh.
at nighttime, everyone kind of does like different camp partying, and we have like a bar set up there at one of the big fortresses, and we do karaoke and dancing and just hell raising, and there's food vendors and other vendors. So it's kind of like a little fun working town, and people just enter. It's like a sandbox, really. Like people get into these feuds when you have 150 people there. People will get they start betraying each other and getting beef with each other. So they entertain themselves all weekend by
Uh-huh.
just doing that. And that community is huge on role playing. So everyone's like making these like elaborate characters. Like this one guy, they have their crew's called the Celebrity Vault, and it's like all these vault full of celebrities like Macho Man Randy Savage that were like turned into like zombie ghouls or
Uh-huh.
mutants. And so like they dress like Macho Man, or the other guy dresses like Lenny Kravitz,
Oh,
and
wow.
but they're like mutated versions of themselves, so they all role play as these people. And like I don't ever like approve anyone's character, just like whatever you want to do. If anyone ever pitches me an
Yeah.
idea, just say yes. So you get all
Well,
this like super silly stuff. And in the LARP community, the costuming is not very good. A lot of times people come in with like it's just like a lot of people do it. Like the people that are really big into the post-apocalyptic festival scene, if they come, they look great. And the
okay.
other folks, they're not dedicated to the scene as much, so they will just be like, all right, well, I wear this to another LARP, so I'll just wear this like tunic and come to your thing. And I'm like, no, no, no. So it's always discouraged, and I always dressed really well for it, and
Uh-huh.
it's because I want to set the standard. But I let anybody in; it's not a huge deal to me.
Gotcha.
Um, and then in the post-apocalyptic festivals that I host, it's like it's similar, I guess, to a Burning Man and stuff. I mean, people know they go to Wasteland Weekend and Detonation and Atomic Falls. It's a very similar event. It's just
Yeah.
smaller scale, where people want to come. They want to barter a ton. So the bartering is huge at the festivals,
Hmm.
and it's almost non-existent at the LARP. And everybody wants to look real sexy, so everyone's got like 10 outfits packed for 4 days,
Nice.
and they all look really great. And then, but we were hosting it at a junkyard, like a working junkyard, and the guy let us take anything off and out of the cars we wanted. So people were taking all these emblems and um, just harvesting stuff all day with
That's
what
great.
they could find. It was so awesome. And then we would be crafting all day with what they found during the sunlight. And
Y-
so we had a full workbench. I brought like a drill press and like all my crafting equipment. So people had tons of stuff to find, and then they would make armor and make props and stuff and upgrade their jackets. And like I said, I've got all these stamps that say like Nukelanta and Rust Riders, and they've got chevrons and stars and different stuff they can
Uh-huh.
press on their costumes. So people would love that for entertainment all day. And then, but sadly, the venue owner got shot in a domestic dispute with his like brother-in-law, and
Oh no.
so he's unfortunately not with us now. And now, and there goes the venue too. Is I called all the nearby ones, and no one wanted to host crazy Mad Max people for $1,000 or whatever. So
Yeah, actual junkyards are not safe places for events.
yeah, right. So, but we had fun there. We would do the death cart races, which he goes by Varric. He's in the Rush Riders. He
Uh-huh.
pioneered that, and
Nice.
we would shoot airsoft guns at these go karts with balloons on them, and we would race. And it was like anything goes. Like
Uh-huh.
um, I brought a fire extinguisher one time to shoot at people, and we it's just like this fun entertainment. Everyone's standing on top of the cars watching these idiots drive
Uh-huh.
around and shoot each other. And I brought a flare one time, and I had that just attached to my go kart on the back of it, and it was starting little fires. And Thomas Kearns was doing TK was doing photography, and he had to run out and stomp all the fires out I was creating. So, but that venue was gold, and it was fun. We had like this old barn that was a long chicken house, and that's where we
Uh-huh.
would party. And Frank, that hosts Aftermath event, set up his own pizza store in there. So we had like hot
Nice.
pizza at like 2 a.m. And we had a professional DJ from Florida from the Copperhead Caravan come and DJ the event,
Uh-huh.
and that was a lot of fun. And so those are the main things. Just like you're gonna go find fun stuff to do all day. Whether you're watching me beat people up, you're watching death carts, you're crafting, you're in a workshop, you're part of a live stream we're doing from the event, just talking, or you're playing some kind of post-apocalyptic board game, or you're bartering. And then at night we're partying. We
Oh,
usually have 3 or 4 bands come. We've got DJs, we've got karaoke, and
awesome.
so
Well, it sounds like a good time, and it's really interesting when you get these events that have some smaller numbers than, say, like Wasteland Weekend that just topped over 5,000 people at its last event. When you're talking about an attendance in the hundreds, it creates a very different event. It's very intimate. The crowd kind of moves together from one thing to another. I think that's pretty fascinating, and it can still be a really good time, even though it doesn't have that production value of these larger events, but it's just, it's just different.
yeah, absolutely.
Cimota Art Collective with Dominique De Leon present Beyond Rust and Dust, Rising from a Broken World, a post-apocalyptic interactive art experience. And it's all happening at Art Arc Gallery, 1035 South 6th Street, San Jose, California. There's a fashion show, wasteland vehicles, making workshops, and artist talk. For more information, go to our website, www.cimotaseers.com.
So how did you get involved hosting Nukelanta and then Junkyard Fest? Like, what brought it on?
I had hosted paintball events that had their own wacky or weird rules for 4 years prior, so I had some event hosting experience. And then I was like, I really want to make a new event that's like bigger and better and attached to a brand. So I made Nukelanta, and I was going to make this really cool Fallout LARP.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had instant success compared to my paintball stuff. So I made like this air. So like we use like for the rules, it was like you use airsoft guns, and that's like your ballistics, like from like a machine gun. And then if you use a Nerf blaster, that was going to be like your energy weapons. It goes through everything and kills you instantly. So, and I had this bomb ass venue that I found this paintball place that would let us play there for free. That was this awesome wilderness with forts and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I started hosting the Fallout LARP, and that was like huge. People love to bring their vault suits or come as raiders and just like play the game. And I had all these little fun things for them to do set up. And I role played as this super mutant that was giant, and people just love like fucking with people, and they love taking prisoners, and they love pretending to do drugs, and
Uh-huh.
like it was just fun. So it was a huge success for LARPing standards. And so then I moved to a different venue that allowed me to do all weekend long, and that bumped my numbers up. And in no time, we were having 150 people events, and people
Awesome.
were coming from out of state, and that was easy to run and a lot of fun, and because it was like a sandbox style game. And
Uh-huh.
so that's how I got the start into it. And then people kept tagging me in Wasteland Weekend posts and stuff. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's this whole big thing in California. And then I started learning more about the global Fallout LARP scene and the global post-apocalyptic festival scene. They host these like in Poland and Czech Republic and Russia. And so I was like, cool, we need a festival here. We don't have a festival. We have a bunch of LARPs. And and I had always networked with other people. I was always going to other people's LARPs to fill in and volunteer. And like, I was trying to like build my network of friends and people for stuff. And so I got invited to this post-apocalyptic group that was like, and it was for the Southeast. And it was like, people wanted to host a Wasteland weekend in Atlanta. And like I didn't know who was the leader, and there was no leadership in it. And like, people kept talking and it never happened. And I was like, well, I'll host it. And and I was like, who's in charge? And nobody was. So I was like, all right, I'll host it. So like, I started calling venues, and I didn't know what I was doing as far as like a festival would go. But so I put all these like LARP elements into it because that's what I did. And so we hosted it, and I was making it like you had to make a character persona, and like it's going to be role play all weekend. And like, that scared all the festival potential people. So like, we had like 100 people sign up, and I think only 35 went. And because like, we had like a radio that would come and host radio stuff all weekend, and I'd be like, all right, tell them the Raiders are coming. And so like, everyone would be like crafting and doing stuff, and then like, me and 3 other guys would be dressed up as monsters or whatever, and we would come and like kick people's tables over and like start pretending to stab. I mean, there was no rules. It was just like a fun like little role play event while you're trying to enjoy your festival.
Yeah.
So we did that, and I made classes all day. I got people to sign up for like, who wants to host what. So we had like people making chainmail, teaching that, and Sean from like, it's Apocalypse Garage or whatever. He's went to Wasteland Weekend several times. So his original car is a Mercedes. He hosted like a post-apocalyptic car class, and like talked all about his cars. And we had just a bunch of workshops. And then the place we hosted at was like a LARP village. So it's like a little Renaissance fair. So they had archery set up for us. So we did archery classes and throwing weapons classes. And then we just partied, and I had some bands come. And it was like a big proof of concept. Like, everybody's like, that was fun as fuck. And like, okay, so we just got to do classes and panels during the day and crafting, and then we can party at night. And we did that, 5 days for 1 week, and it's really fun. So then Frank from a Aftermath event was like, hell yeah, I can do that. So he scheduled the next one for that November. And then I scheduled a bigger, better one for the Junkyard for after his, and here we are.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to kind of sum up here a little bit. Nukelanta is the Fallout LARP, and it is a full-time LARP. Junkyard Fest is not a LARP. It's more of a cosplay event with tutorials and entertainment. That sound about right?
Sure.
And now Aftermath is a totally separate event, but a lot of the same people involved. That one's run by Frank, our bunny, and that one's going to be the same as Junkyard Fest. So it's a cosplay event with like tutorials and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, but in the post-apocalyptic community, we don't call it cosplay. We call it costuming, because everyone's making original characters. And in Europe, they make fun of us if we cosplay, and because they'll be like, "We're cooler than you guys. We don't make screen accurate Raider armor from Fallout, or we don't dress up as Mad Max characters that are screen accurate. We make our own." So basically, that's all it is. It's no one's dressing up from anything hardly. You have very few people that do. It's all costumers making their own original designs.
Got it. So costuming is original versus cosplay, which is like where you're trying to be another character.
Yeah, you're trying to dress up like a character from a...
Got it. Okay, awesome. That's actually something I've never really taken to distinguishing before, and it makes total sense.
I'm here to enlighten you there, Makeshift.
Thank you. Okay, cool. And that's kind of the full gamut of Southeastern events, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And you did mention Sean, who goes by Windsor Farlander, the
Yes.
Farlander tribe. And he's pretty close to Junkyard Fest. I know. I think he's in
Yeah, he's in
Alabama somewhere.
Alabama.
Yeah.
He's only like 3 or 4 hours from Atlanta, and he's very close to the Aftermath venue.
Awesome. Yeah. He's helped host an Apocalypse Post episode before.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great man in our community. That he's humble and kind and very wise, and he's been a great member of the Southeast community for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. So, for people that have only done like a desert post-apocalypse event, what should they know about going to a green place for an event?
Well, it might look like before you get there, like it's just okay. We're camping in the woods on a hill that's open, but like
Mhm.
once everyone starts bringing their own really cool camp setup, it looks like a little shitty shanty town.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so it ends up looking really cool. Like you're in like a little sweet village for the weekend, and I guess it would be equivalent to like one of these little street blocks on at
Uh-huh.
Wasteland weekend. And so it's cool, but it's we usually try to host it when the weather's nice. I do mine in March or April.
Uh-huh.
So your t-shirts during the day, and then at night you can wear your cool Raider jacket when it cools
Okay.
down some. And for Aftermath, that's sometimes I've woken up with my outside my tent frozen. So
Oh, wow.
that one is a nice t-shirt event too if it's sunny outside during
Uh-huh.
the day, but during the nighttime, you're going to need a lot of coats.
Gotcha.
Just depending on it. Sometimes it's not that bad there, but so that is nice,
And
and it's nice to have the grass. It's nice to have power on site right there, and uh, hot showers and stuff that are just open for everybody.
oh, that's great. Nice. And then what's the bug situation?
It's not bad, because like in February, like we're right here, there's no bugs outside. So if I'm hosting
Right.
an event in March or April, they're just now starting to kick up. So it's usually not like in the region we live in, have the events that the bugs aren't that bad.
Mhm.
So it's not like in the summertime it'd be really bad with mosquitoes bothering everybody, but they don't really kick off until then. And we don't live in a region where they're like so bad that it's a really bad time.
Right. Okay, well that's good. But I guess yeah, just having a little bit of bug spray in your kit might not hurt, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so I know that Junkyard Fest is coming up. Tell us when that's happening next.
It's happening. I believe it's like March 21st weekend, something like that. Um, and we're going to host it over at the Aftermath venue, which is called Forge Valley in Gadsden, Alabama.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, it starts St. Patrick's Day on Wednesday, and it's going all the way to Sunday. So we're going to do like a green night on Friday,
Gotcha.
to throw down for that. And a little thing different we're going to do this year. We're going to do a cyberpunk night Saturday night, and put on your glowing, sexy jackets.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I know that Wasteland is starting a new cyberpunk event called Neotropolis. That just got canceled for the second time, so we still haven't had it. Kind of
Yeah.
fun that that it's going to pop up at your event, though.
Yeah, it'll just be a little theme party because people like to have something to make a special outfit for.
Yeah.
It's just more exciting whether you're partying anywhere, even if it's apocalypse. It's like, all right, today we're gonna do a golf theme or whatever.
Uh-huh.
People like that. So, and good luck
Gotcha.
to Wasteland Weekend on their new stuff. All their Neotropolis stuff looked wonderful, and I hate they've had so many hiccups with it with the virus and stuff.
Yeah, minus the virus, they were on, but you
Yeah.
know, you got to do what you got to do. And yeah, as far as your events, how has COVID affected it, and like what precautions are you taking with the events?
Well, I hate canceling anything I've set out to do, and so in the second half of the year, I went ahead and hosted all my events I already had on the books, and
Uh-huh.
but like the LARP is mainly outdoors, so it was only like a 30-person event, and it gave people just something to do when there wasn't a lot to do. And
Yeah.
I hosted, I think, 4 events last year at the end of
Uh-huh.
the second quarter, and no one had any symptoms, and no one got COVID from the events. And it was just like outdoor people having a good time, and like the fun level was so high because there was nothing to do prior, and everyone was just so happy to see each other. And
Yeah.
like we have this big convention called Dragon Con, and that got canceled Labor Day weekend. So I was like, you know
Right.
what? I'm going to host a Junkyard Festival. So I hosted one there instead, and I think we had like 50 people. And but we try to do everything outdoors, and then we have tons of hand sanitizer. I had some of those Tympatic thermometers
Oh,
out,
yeah.
and we had tons of bleach and Lysol and cleaning supplies like that. And then I had
Mhm.
tons of masks that were free, the disposable ones.
Oh, good.
And so just doing that, and then keeping the event small. It's something in flu season or anything. If someone's bound to get sick if everyone's all indoors and it's a ton of people. So it was nice. It was just mainly outdoors and 50 and under, and so that's about it with that.
Gotcha. And I don't imagine that Alabama currently has the same kind of lockdown as like New York or California.
Yeah, not at all. Like in Atlanta, I'll send you a video of it later, Mike. But
Okay.
like there's basically no COVID in Atlanta. We have the party scene's wide open, more so than like
Oh,
people
wow.
tour to Atlanta to party because
Uh-huh.
it's not like it is in other places. It's wide open. Like we have a club here that's like they have like 5 dance floors, 5 DJs, 5 bars, and it's
Uh-huh.
probably like a 5,000 square foot place, maybe
Yeah.
8,000. Anyway, they have usually 350 people in the building at all times on Friday and Saturday,
Oh, wow.
and they've been doing that for months and months and months. So like that's how it is in Atlanta. And so moving over to Alabama, I don't go to Birmingham or their cities, but
Uh-huh.
in Gadsden where we have it's a really small town, so
Right.
it's not a ton of restrictions either.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's I can imagine that for people that are in the thick of it where things are really shut down, it can sound ridiculous to be having an event this time of year or this time of COVID.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, in some of these more rural locations, it's the numbers just aren't there yet.
Yeah, they're not, and I'll say this: like, I got a lot of. I didn't advertise any of my events because I was just like, it's here. I made it in our group. If you're in the community, you want to go. But I got tons of people that kept trying to join my group just to fire start, and
Uh-huh.
and I don't argue with people online. So I did make one video, and it was very short. And I said, if you want to come, cool. If you don't want to come, that's also cool.
Yeah.
And that's my stance on it. I do believe that COVID's real. I wear a mask everywhere I do go. I try to be so safe for these because leading up to it, I want to go to it and I don't want to get anyone sick. So like I take
Right.
all these precautions every day for months just so when I finally can go to an event, I can finally relax and have a good time because I've been so safe leading up to that. And I have been, a firefighter going to the hospital. Like I ride an ambulance usually once a
Uh-huh.
month or twice a month to fill in at my station. And I go on COVID patients all the time. I work in one of those densely populated cities
Mhm.
in Georgia, and I haven't got COVID. I went dating for most of 2021. I just got a really great girlfriend a few weeks ago, but I went on a ton of
Congratulations.
dates. I met a ton of new people,
Uh-huh.
and with all my precautions I took, I never got COVID. So, I'm a big believer that it's a real thing, but you try to be really safe leading up to then. And when we have the event, like if you feel sick at all or a headache, don't go. But it's
Yeah.
nice, like if everyone's healthy, we're gonna go. We're gonna finally have a good time. Because what I'm finding is the people that are going out and they're going on dates or they're having these outdoor meetups with their friends, their mental health's a lot better. The folks that are extremely scared and have a ton of anxiety, I really hate that for them, but a lot of them in my friend group are having a really tough time with their mental health because they've been so isolated all year. And
Yeah, that's a good point, and there is something to be said about balance there, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, I want to get off of COVID because it's not that much fun.
Sure, sure.
Tell me, like, what do you love about the post-apocalypse genre and post-apocalypse events?
I love the post-apocalyptic genre because so many people spend so much money on their costumes and cosplays. And a lot of it has to be store bought. And like this is the greatest thing to get into because it's so cheap. you can look baller ass awesome in your community, and you haven't spent a dime because everything you found was off the interstate, from a thrift store, from your grandpa's shed,
Oh
and
yeah.
like that is just the best, that you can look so awesome and you can be in the top 10 in your community, and you have not like dropped tons of money on it. And like I love that the entry level to it is so awesome that like
Uh-huh.
you don't have to be this great seamstress, you don't have to have an awesome workshop. Everything is just like, the more crappy the better. And like
Right.
that's just so awesome to have such a good entry to it. Like and to compare that, like there's this awesome steel fighting I would like to do where you have to wear like $5,000 in armor that comes from the Ukraine to
Uh-huh.
get into.
Uh-huh.
And like I would love to do that, and a lot of people can't do it because it takes a year to get the armor, and it takes a lot of money. And like when we do our fighting, I've got this like play it again sports equipment that cost me
Uh-huh.
$700, and everyone can do a very similar experience that they're doing with foam fighting weapons, but I have enough to loan for 15 people, and we can
Oh
get into
wow.
it real easy. So that's what like that's the post-apocalyptic scene to me. It's the to get into it is so easy. We can, and there's so many great tutorials. I just think that it's the best scene because like you don't have to, the how everything's so imperfect, it makes it so perfect.
That's so true, and it's really neat because, in the post-apocalypse scene, you can take from Mad Max, you can take from Fallout. There's a lot of different movies that take place in a lot of different apocalypses, and so, there's a lot to draw from. You're not just working off of one world. You can get inspiration from a lot of different places, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, how open it is really awesome. That is cool.
Yeah, I remember, my first Wasteland weekend in 2011, we had some, the different groups of campers are called tribes, and some of them had, like, a very tribal look. There was a group that had a very Western look, and, there was another group that had an urban look, and they actually, like, took modern cars, with and spray paint and that kinda thing, and they went for that, like, cityscape, like, grays and blues versus the the more desert, like, browns and oranges, and I thought that that was just really cool.
That is really neat. That's a great point of it. It's everybody's apocalypse, and it's so neat to see how people interpret it. And it's awesome to leave it open to like, what's the apocalypse to you, and what looks do you think are look cool for your crew?
Totally. Yeah, and at these events, you end up meeting, like, really awesome people, and because everybody is, somehow creative, like, you don't show up to this and you're not creative at all. Either you're actually building, making, designing, or you're just really into it, which is its own creativity, you know?
Yeah,
And so there's always common ground, and, so you everyone kinda just gets along, and it's a great way to meet people.
yeah, that is really awesome. And I love that a lot of people will say the community is the best and nicest because, like you said, it's all artists that care about people. They're always really big on human rights and acceptance. And like we're all degenerates, and it's awesome to all have a really big community to look forward to. Even if the only event you go to every year and look forward to is Wasteland Weekend, you have a community all year to talk with and projects to
Right.
work on that makes it really special to you and gives your life extra meaning, which is really awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so if now ever since Wasteland Weekend popped up in 2010 was their first year, these post-apocalypse festivals have been popping up all over the world, and there's still, of course, several regions that don't have one yet across the United States and the world, especially. But if someone was going to start their own regional event, what should they know before jumping in?
Uh, they should know that like if you want to get insurance and you want to contact the owners of Fallout and Mad Max and try to do everything official, it's gonna be real time consuming, and it's gonna be really taxing on your finances. So the important part, instead of trying to make everything perfect, it's like just go host one. And by the best way to host one is to go network and go to some other ones and see how people do it. Whether you're going to comic conventions, or you're going to post-apocalyptic festivals, or Burning Man, or just an outdoor camping thing, or like that will give you a good experience, and that will let you know kind of what you're going to get into and how you can best make that for your community. And but LARPing and festival making a lot of times is not profitable. It's for your love of like creativity, and like you feel like
Yeah.
you're really called to make something fun and with your energy, and so you're going to do that. So like we like at Nukelanta, I always make a profit, whether
Hmm.
it's from the LARP or from the festival. But like I think at the last event I made like $1,000, and
Okay.
just for 50 people, and I like worked so hard. Like if I just worked my job for like two shifts, I could have made that much money with less work.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's like what I want to, like the whole time I'm having fun, and I am being like exerted really hard, entertaining people and fighting and partying and not sleeping a lot. But like
Uh-huh.
that's what I want to do. Like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else at the time. So it's a nice bonus. I can make some money off of it and buy like more apocalypse shit or whatever. And so it can be profitable, it can be cool, but don't most of them aren't. And the important part is like everybody wants their costume to be perfect, everybody wants their camp to be perfect, everyone wants the event to be perfect, so they end up not going until they can get there. And a lot of times nothing's ever going to be perfect, you're never going to get there. So the important part is just, if you want to make a scene in your community, you just got to start doing it, start doing your thing. You might have 5 people, you might just have a little camping drinking weekend with your buddies, but you got something going that people can come to. And
Yeah,
pictures are
that's
very important to show what your scene's like and to help advertise it.
oh, so your advice there is make sure Thomas Kearns shows up to your event?
Yeah. You gotta, put some Skittles and beef jerky in his pocket, make him feel good, and
Yep.
he's gonna make that come back to you tenfold.
Awesome. Um, well, that's great. One thing I want to add to that is I know that a lot of wasteland tribes will host their own like tribe events throughout the year, and that you could just literally start there, just getting a few people together just for a camping weekend that happens to be in costumes, because the camping is the biggest logistics as far as like setting up an event, and then kind of take it from there in a way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I like the gentleman, Reverend Lawless. He was talking about their build weekends turn into little festivals
Right.
because they're having so much fun all hanging out. So like that's awesome. That's all you need is a group of friends and some costumes. And
Yep, absolutely. And that's really great that they do that so that he can kind of take it a little bit easier during these build weekends and enjoy it as a mini festival. Because when the festival's on, you can probably back him up on this, but I'm sure he's very busy and doesn't really get to enjoy the festival the way everyone else does.
that's right. And you're so correct. And that's when I go to Freak Art Bunny's Aftermath Festival. I don't volunteer for anything. I
Uh-huh.
buy a ticket, and I go have fun. I do sing and I dance and I fight people, but like you're not going to find me like taking trash out.
Gotcha.
Because like I do my due for the community, making it fun for everybody year round. So I do like that I can go to a few things and not have to do what I normally do, and just enjoy it as a attendee, which is awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so for the Junkyard Fest, where can people find more info and get tickets to that?
Okay, so on Facebook is my main thing where like I post a lot. I share a ton of stuff in the apocalypse community. I have a Facebook group that's facebook.com/Nukelanta. And then also if you go to the Aftermath community Facebook group, that's a big one we work out of for the festival, because if people ask Junkyard Festival questions in the Nukelanta group, the LARPers always answer them thinking they're talking about the LARP, and it's really confusing. And then facebook.com/Nukelanta. I'll put a pin post up here in a minute, and but I've got the events all on there, so you can see the event tab. And then on the Instagram is Nukelanta, and I'll post stuff about the event periodically and make announcements, and then I'll post all my event photos. You can see a ton of our old event photos on there, and it's
Uh-huh.
also kind of like my personal blog of what I do every day at the fire department, and my adventures and my personal life, plus the post-apocalyptic. And then I have a TikTok, Nukelanta.
Oh, wow.
So I've
Is
got,
that what the kids are doing these days?
hey, it's cool. I recommend TikTok to anybody trying to like for you to blow up your podcast and your
Uh-huh.
makeshift or wasteland weekend. Like TikTok is huge, and like I've got like we'll just say on Instagram I've got like 1,800 followers. On TikTok, I have 17,000 followers.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's so easy to get them. You just make a video every day and you show off whatever you do. So I have like Nukelanta costuming on there. Like right now, one of my newest videos, like, it's like 35 photos of my costumes. And so I do firefighting. I talk about relationship advice. I talk about firefighter training, and I'll make comedy bits. And I have a ton of me cooking on there. And it's like one of my cooking videos has 200,000 views.
All right.
So like, it's like, that's a great outlet to get your stuff out there.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Steve C., thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us all about your many events.
Yes. Happy to do that, Mike. And thank you for taking time to put a little window into the Southeastern scene, and folks can see kind of what we do here.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll talk to you real soon. And thank you all out there for listening. Really appreciate you checking out this podcast. And that'll be it for this week, everybody. Stay alive.
And days and days and days and days.
Hey survivors, Makeshift here to remind you that the Apocalypse Post is brought to you in no small way by our Patreon supporters. Join the ranks for early access and exclusive content with support levels now named for fancy Fallout-ridden factions like the $2 per creation Drifter or the $7 Wastelander. Knowing you've got my back has helped me dedicate more time to this channel, spreading love of the post-apocalypse and less time on stupid real-world stuff. Sign up right now at patreon.com/theapocalypsepost.